This week on Top of Mind, we're visiting with KCSourcelink, a resource for entrepreneurs in the area looking to start companies, a model that's been replicated in over 20 cities across America. I'm Thom Ruhe, and this is Top of Mind. I'm here today with founder of Sourcelink, Maria Myers. Maria, thank you so much for joining us today on Top of Mind.
Well, thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me here.
Well, it's certainly our pleasure to have you here because, of course, you are a very special part of the ecosystem here in Kansas City. And I thought maybe we would kick things off by simply you sharing with Top of Mind viewers, the history, what is Sourcelink, and the history and how it is, we're sitting here today talking about it.
Sure. Sourcelink connects together networks of resources in regions across the country. And these resources are for entrepreneurs. So you want to start and grow a business, we can get you the right place at the right time. Sourcelink started, back in 2003, 10 years ago, here in Kansas City through this thing we called KCSourcelink. And we started it to solve a problem. Lots of resources for entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs couldn't find them no matter how hard they looked. Or if they found one, it was the wrong one. So we needed to find a mechanism that would allow entrepreneurs to find the resources that they needed at the time they needed them to get something done.
Well, what kind of resources are we talking about? I mean, that's a pretty big and broad word that can mean a lot of things, especially at the community level. What types of resources are we talking about?
So resources that support entrepreneurs are wide and varied. They can be financial resources, microlending programs, angel groups, venture capitalists who can help support the high growth entrepreneur, or they might be incubators or accelerators, places where you can go and grow your business. It can also be small business development centers where people will sit with you and do one-on-one counseling for whatever need that you have or help you grow your business that way. We have people that are paid to do this work from the government, the universities, and a lot of volunteers. For instance, the SCORE organization is a group of volunteers that support small businesses.
We were able to catch up with one of Sourcelink's first resource partners, Rick Miller of the K-State Extension, to reminisce on some of the early days of the organization.
And community development means a lot of different things, but we decided we wanted to offer some programming to startup business owners, but didn't have a lot of resources at the university level. That was about the time KCSourcelink was thinking about coming together. We attended some of their initial meetings and learned that this was really a way to bring all the people in the metro area together who provide services for small business owners, and we said we wanted to be a part of that. And really selfishly from two folks. One, from someone who didn't have a lot of small business background. By being part of Sourcelink, we now were part of a network where we could be referred from many other business partners. And all of a sudden, I didn't have to be the expert anymore. I could now simply plug people into Sourcelink so that if they needed business planning or finances or something else that I wasn't particularly good with, Sourcelink was my answers. Absolutely. It was an easy way to refer people to the best people who had information.
So a lot of those support services and those resources you just identified actually reside in different organizations. So how did you, for lack of a better way to ask, how'd you get them all to come together and play nice, so to speak?
So when we started looking at building the ecosystem here in Kansas City, we decided maybe we won't link together the entrepreneurs. Lots of other people were trying to network together the entrepreneurs. And we said instead, why don't we link together the organizations that are supporting the entrepreneurs? And so what we did, honestly, was we found about 50 of them and got them in a room together and said, hey, we're here to help entrepreneurs find you. What can we do to help? And they told us 5 things. They said, 1, make us visible. The entrepreneurs don't know we exist.
Fair enough.
Most of our grantors don't give us money for marketing, so we're not very visible. Secondly, they said, hey, we don't know what each other does. We don't know if we're all doing the same thing. We'd like to make good client referrals to people that can help them, but we don't know who each other are. So can you help us figure that out? The third thing they said is, we want to deliver the programs that the entrepreneurs need. Can you tell us where the gaps are in services to entrepreneurs? The fourth was, we need more money. Can you help us raise money for our own organization?
That seems like a common
Yeah,
one.
and the last one was, can you help us measure economic impact? Because the only way that we will raise additional funds is if we know that we're making a difference in the community. So those were the 5 tenets that we started our little network of entrepreneurial support organizations with.
So would it be safe to say you, in essence, did a gap analysis for the community and said, at least on, I think it was the 4th point you made, and said, like, this is where you all fit in the tapestry of what's happening in Kansas City. That's really amazing, because in my travels and experiences, I know lots of communities that would kill for such an organizing effort. Perhaps, and I am setting you up blatantly for the next question here, is that perhaps how, or the motivation as to how Sourcelink or KCSourcelink went from Kansas City to now a national profile?
Right, as we were building Sourcelink, we created the tools that would allow us to do it easily and to make our entrepreneurial support organizations visible to the community. So that included things like a website, a resource navigator tool that allows you to answer some questions and find the resource that you need, and a tool that we use to track business growth and development, which was the economic impact piece. And what we found was we had a turnkey system that you could go into another community and say, what are your resources, and let's make them visible and turn this on. So it wasn't long before other communities came and said, will you help us do this in our own community? We don't know what our assets are. They're not working together that we know of, and we don't know if we're helping the entrepreneurs the best way that we can.
So how many cities are you in today?
I think we're in about 22 additional regions beyond Kansas City.
Wow.
And the regions are as small as Whitewater, Wisconsin, and as large as the state of Alaska, Alaska Sourcelink, and big cities like Dallas. Sourcelink is in Dallas, and small cities like a region right around Rochester, Minnesota, southern Minnesota Sourcelink.
I think you're going to San Antonio soon too, aren't you?
That's right. We should be in San Antonio by this fall.
Well, that's pretty exciting. So as you go into these different markets, help me understand how you do the onboarding. Like, does a team of your staff, drop in, parachute into the city, and then there's a protocol that they run to, get everybody to come and meet and be seen?
We believe that entrepreneurship is hyperlocal. So we don't swoop in. What we do is find a champion in that location to help us build the entrepreneurial ecosystem through Sourcelink. So we find a champion and we teach them how to do it.
Oh, really?
One of the things that we do first is go in and find out who the resources are and who their funders are. And we start by bringing that group together to find out what their gaps are and what they need in their area. And then we customize Sourcelink to take them forward from that point.
Maria, I was wondering if you could share with me like an example of a program that Sourcelink offers that might be, unique, and in the sense that it can serve a multitude of companies of different types of industries, not like specific high tech or consumer retail. Like, what's been a program that you've had some success with?
Sure. Let me tell you about our Battle of the Brands project. I told you we make our entrepreneurial resources visible. Well, Battle of the Brands helps make some of our entrepreneurs visible. We do, every March we get together and we pit 64 different companies against each other in our March Madness type brackets. And we use social media. People have to vote for them, and they make it through the brackets, and then at the end they win a pair of boxing gloves. So it's Battle of the Brand.
Now wait a minute, that seems like that could be stacked. There's got to be some companies in a given community that have much more kind of brand awareness in the community.
You'd certainly expect our technology companies to win this one, hands down, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? It doesn't always come out that way. This past year, it was a plumbing company that won. And we had a lot of technology companies said, how did that plumbing company win? Well, we found out from them that they learned an awful lot about how to make social media work by doing this project, or by having people vote for them online. And they beat the likes of our highest level technology companies in this town to take over the winning spot.
I bet they probably didn't have quite as an appreciation for technology or social media before then. Would that be a fair statement?
I think so, and I think that interestingly enough, in this little activity that we did, I think they raised the visibility of their company so high in the community that it really will change the way they do business in the future.
We got to take a look at those boxing gloves firsthand when we talked to Jeff Morgan of Morgan Miller Plumbing.
Our marketing director, Tasha Everhart, got us involved with KCSourcelink through a Battle of the Brands contest that they have. We had been nominated as one of the companies in town to be in this contest. And Tasha took it real seriously and said, we're going to get involved in this and we're going to push ourselves and see how far we can go.
Speaking of how far you could go, and I'm guessing this is why we have boxing gloves here in front of us, this looks like the kind of thing you do for a battle of something. Was this part of what you took advantage of?
KCSourcelink is so, we've learned so much in the last year from them. It's just amazing. I just can't believe that we didn't know them sooner, and I wish we would have. But they started this Battle of the Brands. It's set up like the NCAA tournament. There's 64 companies or teams. There's 4 different brackets, and you battle each team each week, and you get votes. The one with the most votes moves to the next round.
These like Facebook votes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they got to go online. And KCSourcelink was real smart. You didn't have to register, and you didn't have to give them any private information. All you had to do is go vote and get off.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like to give their email address and do that stuff. They wouldn't have voted. So they made it real easy. First there's 64 teams, then there's 32, then there's 16 and 8 until there's one final team left.
And you were the...
You're looking at them, baby.
No kidding. So you won the whole tournament. You weren't the... I'm wondering if you were a bracket buster for some of those earlier rounds.
I think we were. The second round we had to go up against Boulevard Brewery, which everybody loves. There's no way we're going to win, right?
Right.
And we all laughed, and we were still asking for people to vote for us anyway, and by gosh, we won.
Isn't that something?
Then it was Gale's Harley-Davidson.
Now, Harley people and affiliates of Harley-Davidson, they know a thing or two about marketing.
They fought pretty hard against us, but boy, we just asked and asked and asked and asked and got online and asked, and that's what KCSourcelink taught us. They taught us that it was okay to scream and yell about who you are.
I know we're coming up on a big milestone, you know, the 10-year Sourcelink anniversary. You know, can you share with me like what that journey has been like? I mean, what's it felt like over the last 10 years?
Wow.
I know it's a big question.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have thought we would be where we are today 10 years ago.
I mean, what does that mean?
When we started. So when I started Sourcelink, it was a white piece of paper, and they showed me my office. It was a teacher's desk and 32 student desks. I had no phone, no computer, and somebody told me what we need you to do is hook entrepreneurs up to the resources that they need to grow. So 10 years ago, that's where we started. We had nothing, and we had 1 year of funding and desired to make something that was going to last and be here longer than that 1 year of funding. So right from the beginning, we knew that we needed to create something that was scalable, that we needed to think about building something that would work for other people, and that's how we would make it sustainable and impactful for the country, for our community and the country. And we actually wrote a business plan within a year of starting Sourcelink, a real live business plan, and with our products laid out and our revenue streams laid out, and built a 3-year business plan.
You still have a copy of that
I
plan?
do have a copy of that plan, and the funny thing is, I think it's the first business plan I've ever written that actually came true.
Really?
Yeah, we actually followed pretty much the steps were in the plan. The only difference was we expanded about 8 months earlier than we thought we would.
Yeah, but that's a happy problem, right?
That's right.
I'm sure there was like market conditions that gave you the confidence for that expansion. And speaking of that expansion, so here we are at the 10-year mark, 22 cities. Now I'm going to ask you the bigger question, right? What's in store for the next 10 years?
For the next 10 years. One of the things that we've built over the last 10 years is probably America's most accurate database of resources. And we have found that it's very difficult to keep those resources accurate. And we've determined a way to do that by working with our affiliates across the country. So what we'd like to have happen is to partner with people who need those resources and let us be the curators of those resources. And we should see Sourcelink resources all over the place. You know, my dream would be the federal government website is showing the resources that we pull together, and the All of our local websites that want to point out entrepreneurial resources would be pointing to our resource database.
Sort of like a sourcelink.gov someday.
Yeah, so that's certainly an asset that we have that we could really take advantage of. Another asset that we have is this very strong network of people across the country that are working in a variety of different environments, a variety of different economies with different industries. And we have access to best practices in each one of those groups. So to be able to share those practices amongst lots of people would be a dream.
Like a
that we'd
playbook,
have as
so to
well.
speak.
Yeah.
Do you find much demand beyond just kind of the network effect and what you do when you go into all these other communities? Do you find additional demand like, okay, Maria, your team and you did so well here. Here's another conundrum we've been dealing with. And do you get asked to look at kind of like additional services to provide?
We do. And
I would think you might.
Yeah, and I think we've done it many times now in many different communities. And originally we were, we did consulting to help people figure out what to do in their community and then help them support it through tool development. But we've gotten to the point now where we know a lot about resources in communities and entrepreneurship and could actually go in, I think, and really help develop an entrepreneurial ecosystem within a particular region at a much deeper level than we do now.
I'm thinking on the 10 years that you've seen and all the help that you're providing for entrepreneurs all over the country. So I have to ask kind of as a, like a closing thought. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I do. I think that it's difficult to keep something going for 10 years without using some entrepreneurial techniques to make that happen. We sit inside of a university, that's where the program is, but we raise our own funds, we make our own investments, we determine our own future, and we drive forward that way. There have been days when I've wondered if we hit payroll the next time around, just like all those entrepreneurs
that is definitely
out
an
there.
entrepreneurial experience.
And we take advantage of the resources that we can find to help us figure out how to grow what we're building as well. So we look for investment, we build business plans, we follow plans, we ask our customers what they need and want to move forward. We validate our market all the time. So I think we're pretty well established as an entrepreneur.
Sure sounds that way to me.
Yeah.
Maria, much success for the next
you
10
so
years. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on Top of Mind with us today.
Thank you.